Morning to all my dear Cbse students of class 7. So today we are beginning the first chapter of your science, that is nutrition in plants. So as many of the CBSE students were demanding for their classes, and due to some problems we are not able to continue CBSE, we are not able to start, we were not able to begin the CBSE medium classes, but from today we are beginning it in our channel. And for CBSE medium, the NCERT books are very, very important. So, my dear students, I prescribe you to study from NCERT books, because in your higher classes, questions will directly come from the NCERT books. So, NCERT book studying is very, very important. Apart from that, you can also have a reference book, but keep your NCERT book as your basic book, okay, as your base, because base is your NCERT only. After that, you can study from reference book, and here what I will teach you in the class, I guarantee you that you don't need any reference book. Okay, so let's start nutrition in plants. Yeah. Okay. So in class 6, you have learned that food is essential for all living organisms. So you must have learned in your class 6 that food is one of the necessary in one of the necessity of living organisms. Why? To need energy, for energy for bodily functions. For the functioning of the body, we need food. Okay. And also we learned about different nutrients. What are the nutrients? The components of the food. Nutrients are the components of the food necessary for our body. And the nutrients are the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. So these nutrients have different functions, like carbohydrates and fats give you energy. Protein helps in bodybuilding, okay, repairing of dead cells or old cells, okay. Vitamins and minerals protects us from diseases, okay, keeps our bones strong, okay. So these different types of nutrients are required in our food, okay, required in our diet. All living organisms require food. Plants can make their food themselves, but animals, including humans, cannot. See, plants can make their food by the process of photosynthesis, as they are having chlorophyll. So they can easily make their food by the process of photosynthesis. But animals cannot make their food by their own. They depend on plants or animals. Suppose herbivore is there, it will depend on plants. Carnivore, it will depend on animals. Humans are basically omnivores, both plants and animals. Okay. So humans and animals are directly or indirectly dependent on plants. How indirectly? Directly understood. Humans can directly eat the fruits, vegetables, or whatever. How indirectly? See, suppose a carnivore is there. Okay. A carnivore is there. A carnivore is feeding a herbivore. A carnivore is feeding a herbivore, and a herbivore is feeding on plants. So if herbivore will eat plant, it will stay healthy, and if it will stay healthy, carnivore will eat that herbivore. हिंदी में समझते हैं. Suppose कार्निवोर किसको खाता है? हर्बीवोर को खाता है. हर्बीवोर क्या खाता है? प्लांट को खाता है. अगर हर्बीवोर को हेल्दी रहना है, तो हर्बीवोर प्लांट फीड अच्छे से करना चाहिए. अगर वो प्लांट अच्छे से फीड नहीं करेगा तो हेल्दी नहीं रहेगा. अगर वो हेल्दी नहीं रहेगा तो कार्निवोर को अच्छा फूड नहीं मिलेगा. इसीलिए एनिमल्स आर आल्सो डायरेक्टली डिपेंडेंट ऑन प्लांट्स. मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन. मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन मतलब किस तरह का न्यूट्रिशन होता है, खुद बनाता है या डिपेंडेंट रहता है, उसके ऊपर ही मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन डिसाइड किया जाता है. Plants are the only organisms that can prepare food for themselves. Yes, plants are the only organisms, or कोई भी organism, there are no organisms which can prepare food by themselves except plants. Plants can only prepare food by themselves. What they use? See, they use water, carbon dioxide, and minerals. Okay, water, carbon dioxide and minerals को use करके plants अपना खुद का food बनाते हैं. So what the plant uses? Water, carbon dioxide and minerals. Okay, and where this water, carbon dioxide, minerals comes from? The surroundings. They comes from the surroundings. Water comes from the soil. CO2 comes from the air. Carbon dioxide comes from the air, and minerals comes from the soil. Sunlight is also required. The nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, repair the damaged part of the bodies, and provide energy to carry out life processes. I have already told you what are the functions of nutrients: to build their bodies, to growth, for repairing of damaged parts. Yes. How it will repair? Suppose one cell, one part of the body is damaged. So it will form new part. It will form new cells. वहाँ पे वो cells जो होता है वो मतलब structural and functional unit होता है एक body का. It will grow. It will form new cells, new parts. It will form new parts, and like that only the damaged part will get repaired. Okay. Nutrients is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. What is nutrition? Nutrients, we have learned nutrients are the components of food required by the body. Nutrition is the mode of taking of the food or mode of taking of the nutrients and its utilization by the body. So this mode can be of two types. This mode of nutrition can be of two types. One is autotrophic and one is heterotrophic. What is autotrophic? See, when the word auto will come, you can guess it as self. When the word auto will come, it means self. And trophos means nourishment, self-nourishment. Self-nourishment means it will make the food by itself. Suppose example, plants. Plants uses what? Water, carbon dioxide, minerals, and make its own food. Okay. So autotrophic means plants prepare the plants or the organisms that make their food from simpler substances is autotrophic, and thus are the organisms are called autotrophs. And what are the autotrophs? The plants. Plants को ही हम लोग autotrophs बोलेंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि वही है. Plants are the only organism which prepare food by themselves. So plants are only called autotrophs. Suppose now heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means which depend on the plants for food. Animals and humans, they are the heterotrophs. Heteros means other. Hetero means other. So what are heterotrophs? Animals that depends on other animals for food. Okay, in ready-made food, or you can say they take in ready-made food prepared by the plants. They take in ready-made food prepared by the plants, or they depend on plants for their food. What are the examples? Animals and humans. Now the next process is photosynthesis. The next process is photosynthesis. See, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the food making process in plants. The food making process in plants are called photosynthesis. Where it occurs in the leaves. Leaves of the plant undergoes photosynthesis. That's why leaves are called the food factories of the plants. Leaves are called the food factories of the plants. Okay, the synthesis of food in plants occur in leaves. Synthesis of food in plants occur in leaves. Therefore, all the raw materials. What are the raw materials? Water, carbon dioxide, and minerals reach the leaves. If it will not reach the leaf, how leaf will produce food? So, for production of food, all the raw materials. What are the raw materials? The question will come. What are the raw materials for photosynthesis? The raw materials photosynthesis means the raw materials for food preparation. That is your water. W means water, or H2O also you can write. CO2, carbon dioxide, and minerals. Also sunlight. Okay. So water and minerals are present in the soil, are absorbed by the roots. See, suppose here is the photo of the plant. I will show you. So water and minerals, they are present in the soil. How it is absorbed? By the roots. The roots is present below the ground and it absorbs water and mineral to the soil and sends it to the or transport it to the leaves. Transport it to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from air is taken through the tiny pores present in the leaves. What are the tiny pores called? Stomata. The tiny pores present in the leaves are called stomata. The tiny pores present in the leaves are called stomata. See here, I will show you after some time. And the stomata are surrounded by guard cells. They are the kidney-shaped cells which surrounds the stomata. Here something is given about cell. See, what is a cell? Suppose here in this in gist it is given. If you want in detail, I have taught cell in class 6 ICSE. Okay, video you can check. Otherwise, I will give the link in description or the card. Okay. See, cell is the structural and fundamental unit of the body. Suppose your house is made up of bricks. Bricks is the structural and fundamental unit of your house. Structural and fundamental means एक छोटा छोटा ब्रिक से ही बड़ा हाउस बनता है. तो छोटे छोटे सेल से हमारा बॉडी बनता है. So cells are the structural and functional unit of body and they can be only seen under the microscope. We can only see the cell under the microscope. Some organisms are made up of only one cell. So one cell organisms are called unicellular organism. The one cell organisms, listen me carefully, you can note it down. One cell organisms are called the unicellular organism. More than one cell, multicellular organism. Multi. Bacteria, suppose bacteria. Bacteria is a unicellular organism. It is an unicellular. Why? It is made up of single cell. Single cell bacteria will look like that. Suppose single cell. Okay. Humans, many cells. We have blood cell, muscle cell, nerve cell, etc., etc., etc. So your structure of cell is given here. See, your cell is bounded by a cell membrane. Cell is bounded by a cell membrane. Normal human cell is bounded by a cell membrane. And also, it is a thin outer boundary of the cell. Okay, and in between the cell, in the middle of the cell, you can see a nucleus. Nucleus is a spherical structure. So the cell is bounded by a cell membrane, and in center there is a spherical structure located, and it is called as your nucleus. And around the nucleus, a jelly-like substance is present known as cytoplasm. This is the basic structure of your cell. In detail, it is not given, so not required. If you want in detail in class 6 ICSE, I have taught every and each part of cell. You can see there. Okay. Cytoplasm. See, in plants also there is a cell wall. In animals there is no cell wall. बहुत सारे डिफरेंसेस मिलेंगे तो आप 6 क्लास के वीडियो में जाकर देख सकते हो. यहाँ पे आपको बस जितना चाहिए मैंने उतना बोल दिया है. Cells. हो गया. Next part. Water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels, which runs like pipes throughout the root. Okay. How see, without pipes, without tubes, how water will go from root to leaf? Okay. How it will go? Through the pipes. These vessels are the parts of xylem. These vessels are the parts of xylem. This is extra point. Xylem are the parts of the plant or the tissue of the plant which transports water. Xylem, water conduction के लिए xylem help करता है और xylem का parts है vessels जो कि specifically help करता है for water transport, water and mineral transport. Okay. So how the water moves how it moves from roots to leaves by the vessels of the xylem. Okay. And this form a continuous path or passage of nutrients to the leaf. The continuous path, okay, path is continuous. It is not broken. Okay, it is continuous, and it is the property of the nutrients that it moves continuously from roots to the leaves. Okay, and how it moves you will learn in chapter 11. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. What is the function of chlorophyll? See, I have told you many times before that raw materials, in raw materials, we have to include sunlight also. So see, sunlight is also necessary for photosynthesis. How sunlight functions? By the help of chlorophyll. Okay, this chlorophyll helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This sunlight, what, sorry, this chlorophyll helps the leaves to trap the sun energy, okay, or sunlight energy. This energy is used to synthesize food from carbon dioxide and water. Okay, how, see, something you are making means something you are producing means you require energy. So where this energy comes from? This energy comes from the sunlight. And who helps to trap the energy or capture it? The chlorophyll. Okay. And as the synthesis of food occurs in presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. Synthesis means something to combine, combining and producing a new thing. This is called synthesis. Photo means light. So photosynthesis. Okay. So what are the necessary requirements? Chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. Okay. And this process is unique process on earth. Why this is unique? Because the oxygen is one of the product of photosynthesis. Why it is very much important also for plants and humans, animals? Because photosynthesis produces oxygen also, and oxygen is requirement of our body for breathing. Okay, we require oxygen for breathing. So photosynthesis is very important. Okay, process on earth for life. Sun is the ultimate source for all, source of energy for all living organisms. Yes, see, if sun would not have been there, photosynthesis is also not possible, would have been not possible. Human life is would have been also not possible. Humans also or animals also could not survive without process of photosynthesis. Okay, without the presence of sun. Same thing is given here. In the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. The survival of almost all living organisms depend on the food made by the plants. Besides oxygen, which is essential for survival of all living organisms, is produced by photosynthesis. In the absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on Earth. Life would be impossible on Earth. Okay. By this photosynthesis only, life is possible on Earth. Okay. By this photosynthesis only, life is possible on Earth. Besides leaves, photosynthesis takes place in other green parts of the plant. Okay. Mainly photosynthesis takes parts in the leaves, but also photosynthesis occurs in green parts of the plant. The desert plants have scale or spiny leaves. Yes, the desert plants, see what happens. Leaves has tiny spores. These tiny spores called your stomata, guarded by the guard cells. See, from this air intake takes place. Okay, carbon dioxide enters for photosynthesis. Also, water vapor comes out as the process of transpiration. That is water loss. Okay, water vapor comes out as the process of transpiration. So, in desert, there is less water. So, to reduce the water loss, what they do, they make their leaves spiny. They'll make, you must have seen a cactus plant. They make their leaves spiny. Okay. So their leaves are spiny in nature, and their stems, the green part of the cactus is stem. Okay, the green part of the cactus is stem, and that part undergoes photosynthesis. Okay, in cactus, the stem undergoes photosynthesis. Okay, not the leaves. This is one of the what fun fact you can say. These plants have green stems which carry out photosynthesis. Fine. See, here is a picture of photosynthesis. Sunlight is coming, chlorophyll is there in leaf, water and minerals are going, carbon dioxide is coming in, oxygen is going out. And this oxygen is utilized by animals and humans for breathing. The equation for photosynthesis: carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. You have to write chlorophyll gives carbohydrate, that is your glucose. Okay, what is the carbohydrate? Glucose. Not written here, it may come in exam. Glucose plus oxygen. See, these are your chlorophyll. See here, this is given green part, small dotted like structures. These are the chlorophyll. This is the guard cells. This one is the guard cells. If we dot the enlarged structure of stomata, this one is the enlarged structure of stomata. See, these are the guard cells. These kidney shaped cells are the guard cells, and this is the pore called as stomatal opening or stomatal pore, and these are the side cells or subsidiary cells. Okay, this is the leaf, and this is the your section of stomata. Now what is given? During the process, oxygen is released. Yes, oxygen is released. Carbohydrates are ultimately get converted to into starch. See, here glucose is there. What will happen? If plants requires glucose, it will get utilized, and some part which is not required at present is converted to starch, and it is stored in the plants. Okay, it is stored in the plants. The presence of starch in leaf indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. How we will detect that is the plant undergoing photosynthesis or not? By the presence of, by the testing starch in the leaves. If starch is present in the leaves, then we can clarify that the plant is undergoing the process of photosynthesis. Okay, and this starch is also a carbohydrate. So basically starch is a storage carbohydrate. Okay, if plant need carbohydrate or need food at then and there, instantly उसे food चाहिए, it need food instantly, then it will utilize it in the form of glucose. If it is not required at present, it will form starch and store it somewhere. Okay, in leaves it store, in stem it store, wherever it requires it will store. Now here is one activity given. What is the activity? Let's see. Two potted plants of same kind keep one in dark for 72 hours and other in sunlight. Perform the iodine test. Yes, very easy activity. One thing you do, you keep one plant in one uh, dark room for 72 hours. 72 hours means 3 days, and keep one plant in sunlight. Okay, now what happened? Now what happened? Now you have to record your results. Okay, test, you have to perform iodine test and record your results. Now leave the pot which was earlier kept in dark in sunlight for 3-4 days. Again you have to keep the which plant you kept in dark, you have to keep that in sunlight for 3-4 days and perform the iodine test again. Then what record your observation in your notebook. The leaf other than leaf also have chlorophyll. See what will be the result. Suppose if you kept the leaf, if you kept the pot in dark, it will not produce starch. It will not produce starch. Why it will not produce starch? Because photosynthesis is not possible without light. So iodine means if starch is there, na, if starch will be produced, that starch will convert into bluish color. Iodine will convert your starch in your leaves in bluish color. So the plant in sunlight will form bluish color, but the plant in dark will not form bluish color. The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. Yes, you must have seen some leaves are violet in color, some leaves are red in color. Okay, a large amount of red, brown, and other pigments marks the green color. Some other pigments are also there which cover the green color of the leaf, like your red leaf. Your green chlorophyll is present over that your red pigment is present. So the leaf will become red, but chlorophyll is present in that leaf. So that leaves undergo photosynthesis. Okay. You often see slimy green patches in the ponds or in other stagnant water bodies. These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. What are algae? Algae are also one photosynthetic plants. Okay, they are also one of the photosynthetic plant. They are the organisms. You can see on the lake, green, your lakes of you can see your lakes become green. Why they become green? Due to the growth of algae. Algae also, why they are green in color? Because of the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll gives them green color. The chlorophyll gives them green color. Algae also are photosynthetic in nature. I've told you photosynthetic. They are photosynthetic organisms. Okay, algae are the photosynthetic organisms. Some algae are also bacteria. Leave that. Algae are the photosynthetic organisms. Details of algae you will read in class 11. That is far from you. 4 to 5 years after you will read about details in algae. Now you just remember that algae are green in color because they have chlorophyll, and also they can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is there, means sunlight it will trap, and photosynthesis will be occurring. Now this part, you have just learned that plants synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. The carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. What are the components of carbohydrates? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, these are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. Okay, so what are the uses of your carbohydrates? From carbohydrates, plant produce other nutrients. What are they? Proteins and fats. Proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. See, these proteins, they are made up of nitrogen. They contain nitrogenous substances. Okay, they contain nitrogenous. Okay, you can write N2 here. The short form for nitrogen is N2. Nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. In our atmosphere, we have 70%, more than 70% of atmosphere is nitrogen. More than 70. Okay, more than 70% is maximum nitrogen is present in your air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. How plant is absorbing carbon dioxide? It cannot absorb nitrogen. So for that, we have to convert gaseous nitrogen into a usable form and release it into a soil. So what it is done? See, your gaseous nitrogen is converted into a usable form of nitrogen, okay, and released it into the soil so that the roots can absorb it and it will be required by the plant. So these gaseous forms of nitrogen These gaseous forms of nitrogen are converted into soluble forms. What are the soluble forms? They are ammonia. It is not written here. Leave it. Okay, and this ammonia, these soluble forms of nitrogen, along with water, are absorbed by the plants. Along with water, these soluble forms are absorbed by the plants. Okay, so you must have seen the farmers are adding fertilizers. Okay, why they're adding fertilizers, and these fertilizers are nitrogenous, rich in nitrogen. Okay, and they add fertilizers to increase the nitrogen content of the soil. because nitrogen is very, very required by the plants. Okay, one of the major requirement of the plant is nitrogen. So the fertilizers add. So nitrogen increase the fertility of the soil. So these fertilizers are added to the soil for increasing the fertility of the soil. So in this way, the plants fulfill their requirements of nitrogen along with other constituents. So the fertilizers are also added for fulfilling the requirement of the plant. What all nutrients are not there in the soil. So it is fulfilled by the use of fertilizer. Plant can synthesize components of food other than carbohydrates such as proteins, fats. I have already told you these things before. So other modes of nutrition in plants, we will read in the next class. Most probably next class, we will complete this chapter and we'll in the next chapter, that is your nutrition in animals. Okay, till then, thank you, bye bye, and take care. Okay, and like and subscribe to the channel continuously. From now, Cbse content is coming. Okay, so thank you, my dear students.